And we are live. Welcome to the RedBlue podcast number 122. How are you, Gray?
Doing great. Yeah, it's a Tuesday. Good times. Happy to be here. What about you, Multi? You just got to see two masterpieces. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. And I expected the second one to be one of the worst thing I've ever seen, but there's a movie that's worse next week. So I'm glad. Outside of that, I'm doing great. A lot of video art cooking and will come out this weekend, next week. What about you, the Matt Belek? How are you today?
I am fine. I'm happy to be here. So it's my second time with you in your podcast. Again, I try my best to do this in English. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and to talk. RoboCop is a masterpiece about the cinema. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Amazing. Again, you got charisma. What about you, Superbald? How are you today?
I'm itchy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we talked about that.
Yeah, I have sensitive skin, and something right now is aggravating my skin, and I'm in the middle of an itching fit right now. So if ever I turn off my camera, it's because I'm scratching somewhere.
All
Oh, man,
good.
that's the worst. Yeah, feel your pain.
Yeah.
But thank you for being there. That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
wasn't sure if I was going to make it. It was really down to the last minute. As I was saying, and before we went live, I rewatched the movies, but I had to kind of rush through them and didn't have time to take notes. I won't have as much to contribute this week.
That's fine. You're there. Just being there and sharing your opinion is what matters the most. And thank you again. And I must say something. We got really good numbers last week as well. It's not as good as week 2, but the show is doing amazing. I don't know how. I don't know. I think I know why. Guys are there. Guys clearly contribute very well on the show being watched. But
I don't know that anyone's searching for us, but you made changes. You've put like the titles of the actual movies first, and a whole bunch of other things. I think there's a lot that could be drawing in eyes, but don't sell yourself short. You're a factor in this as well.
During season 5, I started doing that as well, and numbers were not like that. I'm just shocked. Like we got like 300 something with James Bond, which is now the second most viewed stream on my channel, and Django last week 160, and that did climb up very high. Like I think that stream is like maybe top 30 on my channel, and I stream a lot. So good numbers. Good job, guys. And I think this is the perfect moment for Gray to laugh at me.
Not funny. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Not funny.
And here we are. So why did you choose RoboCop, Gray?
Because it is a classic. What can I say? It's an amazing movie that introduced at least the American audience to a very special director, Paul Verhoeven. He had one prior English-speaking film, but this is kind of the pinnacle. And then from here, you get so many other classics. He had this streak for about like 6 movies that just couldn't be stopped. And then he just completely fell off. But those amazing 6 movies, so good. So yeah, we go like right from RoboCop to Total Recall, and then Basic Instinct, then to Showgirls, then to Starship Troopers. Then he goes Hollow Man. You could argue that's a huge drop off, but man, this era, just the Total Recalls, the Starship Troopers, utter classics. And then when I heard that you had never heard of this thing, or had never seen it, I had to get your fresh eyes on this thing that I've seen since I was a child. And man, the just so many characters in here are just iconic. But I guess the one scene that worked best for me as a kid, and apparently the test audiences, this was originally like cut as an NC-17, and they wanted them to cut out a whole bunch of things, but they showed this to a bunch of test audiences, and the one scene they said they couldn't get rid of is the dude who gets into the vat of nuclear waste or toxic waste and then gets hit by a car. That to me, like, it is indelibly burned into my memory. I can see that with my eyes closed, and I could since I was like a child. I saw this way too early. But
Same here.
it's things like that just like, it makes it a classic. And then not to mention, it's got one of the best, well, I guess two of the best just villains from the 80s. Kurtwood Smith, the father from that 70s show. Him as Clarence Boddicker is just, man, I don't know if there is a more iconic 80s, like, just bad guy.
Yeah,
he is so
definitely.
perfect in this role. And then I do love Ronnie Cox as Dick Jones, who is kind of the secret baddie in this as well. He just has that perfect air about him. But man, it's just how iconic everything is in this. But it's especially that Emil Antonowski death, the amazing toxic waste thing. That's the reason why I wanted you to see it, Multi. Also, you always argue that people can't aim. In this, you literally have robotic aim. So you don't have that.
I like that. Do that more
Yeah,
often.
I know. It fits in with your aesthetic. It's what you like, man. But you never seeing it. What's your opinion on it, man?
I did hear about that thing, so I knew I kind of knew it existed, but I didn't see it. Indeed, I enjoyed it. I think I haven't seen that many movies from the 80s in general, and even on the show, we covered some classic like the Star Wars stuff and the Terminator stuff back then. Can't remember if that was like 90s or whatever. We covered some classic, but outside of that, I haven't seen that many 80s movies.
That's the other reason why I put it up there. You need to know the classics, sir.
Usually, I don't gravitate that much toward older cinema. It's not that it's bad or anything. Usually, it's really good. It's just I like what's more modern, like maybe not the modern aesthetics, but like more like, oh, the camera or like the more like how accessible it has become.
Yeah, modern cinema is definitely shot different just because of cameras nowadays are more lightweight, and
Yeah.
also with digital, you can do much longer unbroken takes compared to film. Film, you had a limitation just because a film reel was only so long.
Yeah.
For sure. There's also that instantaneous clarity. Like digital is just so crisp, where film
Yeah.
just has that awesome kind of fuzz built into it that I love.
Mhm.
But I can see how that would be off-putting if you're used to the sterility, the clearness that is digital.
Yeah. And I will also say this. I will also explain why RoboCop 2 is there because you haven't chose that one. So I didn't really know that many 80s movies. So I was like, you know what? What works well with RoboCop? Let's cover RoboCop 2. It's to make it make sense. I did.
I don't know that it does, though.
It does. I mean, it's the sequel. Oh, we got.
All right, you're
someone-
thinking like
Yeah.
Orion Pictures is all I'm saying. They also thought, hey, you know what we need to do? RoboCop 2.
Hell yeah. RoboCop 2 is a great movie. I wouldn't say great, but I get your feeling. I understand you. So yeah, I enjoyed RoboCop a lot. I'm a bit sad I didn't see that thing before. That was very violent. I don't
Yeah.
think modern day would do that kind of very violent take on war on crimes. You can call it that way.
You could actually test your theory. There is a 2014 remake with Samuel L. Jackson, actually.
Yeah, which
You might wanna check it out
I
after
have
this.
not seen and will never see.
I only heard bad stuff
But
about
yeah,
it.
same thing. I've only heard bad things about it, and I've told it, as they do with modern audiences, they go for that golden PG-13 rating, so they really tone down the violence.
The remake is not that bad, but it is not as good. And the first RoboCop, the first one is a classic for many reasons. But yes, the
Yeah.
violence, the gore, the blood, the side of the horror with the scene with the man, the toxic on him, and
Yeah.
he smashed with the card. That so weird, so violence scene. But yeah, the remake is a good entertainment, but it's not good for nothing else. The actor, I don't remember the name of the actor with the remake, but he's not have the charisma. Like have Peter Weller in the RoboCop and the original movie.
Yeah, well, Peter Weller's an amazing actor. He's been in so many things, and he can play so many different kinds of characters.
Yeah, and with this role, the Alex Murphy RoboCop, he's perfect in that role. He has so charisma, and with the costume, the RoboCop is so epic to see him to fight, to move, to talk. You have a deep voice. He move like a robot. This character is perfect in the first movie. The first is very great. I think the second is a good entertainment, but it's not great. And the third is a bad movie. A very
Yeah, they really went off the rails there, and they had already started to tone it down to make it more family friendly because they realized kids were really into RoboCop. Like, I'm old enough to remember this, that there was actually a RoboCop cartoon for a while, and there was like a bunch of RoboCop toys and stuff like that.
Okay, I hear what
Wow.
you're saying, but jetpack though.
Oh.
If we just put a jetpack.
Oh my God, I
no,
forgot about I completely forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah, that alone just kills
uh,
it.
By
Jetpack
the
or
way, guys, RoboCop 3 is part of the planning in season 8. Not next season, but like season 8.
okay.
Should it be though?
Go back to the first one then.
Yeah. I got so much to say. Cause there in the 2014 that's nice. I agree. It didn't happen. It didn't exist. But I look at my notes. There's just so much thing I liked. I liked pretty much everything about that movie, and I only had one issue. The one issue would be plot armor on the lead was kind of crazy as he lost shit ton of blood and took bullet in the head. Yet he was still alive. I understand it's sci-fi.
He had
but I
super
couldn't
futuristic
stand
body
it.
armor.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He got shot. Then he got implanted these stakes.
Well, technically, that was the final shot. I mean, yeah, his arm was gone, but he didn't have arm body armor. It was just body armor.
It's a sci-fi movie, you know. You need to
I
accept
could
that.
not suspend this myth anymore. I was like, man, that guy is toast. But no, he's not toast because he's the main character and he needs to become RoboCop.
Yeah, yeah, and the scene with when he become RoboCop is epic. So his work, I like the scene when you see the view on his in this eye, and you need a new arm, new body. It's a very great scene.
I agree with that. So that was my only issue. The guy like surviving this shit, and then yeah, but again, I adored that movie, and that nitpick aside, that was a blast. I will say that corporate greed was a nice theme since the old guy only thought about maximizing gains, even if the product were broken. Any thoughts on that, anyone?
Yeah, I actually saw this movie way too young, just like Grey. And I remember it traumatizing me. I was being, my aunt was babysitting me. She had rented it and she let me watch it. I must have been probably 7 years old. And I remember it traumatizing me. and I was too young to understand that like the over-the-top violence was meant to be satirical, and I thought I was afraid of Detroit because I thought it was just like this hellscape where everybody's getting shot left and right. Um, in a lot of ways, I wasn't exactly wrong, but unfortunately. But having seen it a few times as an adult, I get the satirical aspect of it, and it's making fun or criticizing corporate greed, especially the corporate climate of that time in the 80s. This was the era of Reaganomics and trickle down economics, which never worked. The only thing that ever trickled down was piss. But like I said, I didn't take notes this week, so I'm just kind of going off memory here.
That's fine.
But there is a lot of violence, but it is meant to be satirical. It isn't. It's not meant to. At least in the first movie. The second movie, it just went off the rails completely. But the first movie, it was meant as satire. It was so over the top. It wasn't meant to be sort of, it was sort of, how can I say, not meant to be taken seriously, but to sort of represent corporate greed and how corporations are soulless and don't care about individuals and what happens to people.
Yeah.
I'd argue that's kind of there in the second one. They just changed the tone is all, but we'll get to that later. But I totally agree with you on that, the message on here.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I have marked down that is worth mentioning, it was well shown how the corporation used the criminal for their advantage. And the other thing I really enjoyed was how RoboCop learned about his past life, and it was well made. Miller being delusional was well told through his crazy talk during the stage situation. It was also a very funny moment. The test run ending the poor guy life was sad and tragic, showing how dangerous such robot may be. Pretty much everyone at the building lacked empathy toward the dead victim of the new prototype. And these are like the big highlights outside of the stuff I like that I'm like, let's talk about that. Let's point that one out. Overall, the action, the satire, the humor, the characters were likable. We didn't add like 20 characters. We only needed the girl, the bad guys, and the RoboCop. That's all we needed.
There's like 20 characters, though. You got Miguel Ferrer, Ronnie Cox, Dan O'Herlihy. You got the entire gang, the very diverse gang that's, the antagonists in this.
They all died. They don't matter. They're just like cannon fodder, They were just there to get butchered and slaughtered, But I think the acting was on point as well. Everything about this movie is just wonderful. I like it. I won't praise it enough. So I will let someone else go on the matter. Maybe Grey. Grey, what did you think of RoboCop?
So I absolutely love it. So I chose it for all the reasons before, but also you'd kind of talked some crap on movies of the past and pacing issues, if you will. So I did pick a few on this list that I thought would just kind of, they're a little bit for you, but mostly as, like a backhand to you. But that's what this is. To me, it is kind of like the quintessential, I don't know if I would call it like a sci-fi action. That's there, but there's so much messaging and then so much like drama that's going on in this. So this is a really weird film. So it came actually from a dude who was working on Blade Runner. He wrote this thing called RoboCop, and he happened to meet another dude who wrote another screenplay about a robot cop. His was about a robot that's gaining sentience. The other dude's was somewhat cyborgish, and then they put them together and it became RoboCop. And then it was just like shopped around to a whole bunch of different people. I think it had a subtitle of like the future of law enforcement or something like that. But it was always RoboCop : something. And finally it came across like Paul Verhoeven's desk or whatever, his pile. He read it and he's like, this is way too violent. No, like I'm not doing this. And I guess he had one assistant who just kept going back to the script and was like, no, there's more here. Like you need to look at like the subtext that's going on. And because English wasn't his first language, I guess he had kind of missed some of that. But man, this is like what I think of when I think of a weird kind of subversive Paul Verhoeven movie. There's always these kind of messages of greed, messages of like lust, and just so much over the topness in a great way. We made you watch Total Recall, didn't we, Multi?
Yes, that was
Okay.
last season, or maybe season 4 actually. Yeah, that was
Okay.
season 4.
So they did a weird thing with the second one where they announced it was being made before they talked to anybody. And then when they tried to talk to Paul Verhoeven, he was already making Total Recall when it came up. So they went with a different director for that one. But man, the first one is just so perfect. I love every aspect about it. I think the only thing we haven't talked about so far is the music. And my God,
the
score
theme
for this
song, man.
is
The theme song is
Oh,
so great.
it's so like majestic, triumphant, getting shit done. Like, and the actual last scene where it's like, "What's your name, Murphy?" and then it just cuts to the music that like, dun-dun-dun-dun. It's just perfect. And the actual instrumentation that they use on it, it's big and orchestral, but it's got a blend of electronic in there. Like, it is perfect. Where when we get to the subsequent films, they're all really generic and then weird. But this is just like perfect. It is one of my favorite 80s scores. Like, just the second I hear this song, it's like, yes, let's get stuff done. Like, let's do something. It is an awesome score, and it is just perfect for, this robot cop cleaning up the city. It works perfectly for me. Every actor is just what I want them to be in this. We mentioned some of the shots. As Matt was pointing out, we've got that amazing when RoboCop wakes up shot where it's all a POV shot, and you get some information about, why does he need an arm? Let's lose the arm. That's tragic, but you're still experiencing it firsthand, and just that whole sequence is amazing. And then just the whole arc that you're able to kind of go on with this character where you're seeing that he's gaining humanity, all culminating in that final line. It is just so amazing. And then that's not where they go with the second one. It's an odd choice. But I absolutely love how small the story is, but just being kind of perfect. I get it. It is weird to have, like Coke dropping from like a great height to fill up this weird, like, ball shaped thing, but still I'm buying it. Like, that's a drug lab, they're gonna sell it in these weird glass baseballs. Like, okay, that's gonna make sense somehow. But yeah, I don't know. I love it, and I love just, I don't know, the blatant assholishness of Kurtwood Smith, especially in like the scene where RoboCop kind of busts the drug lab. Just, you know who I am. Like, it works perfectly. And then from there you get him flirting with the secretary somehow by sticking his gum on her name badge. Like, just, man, it just builds up this horrible character that I absolutely love, who leads this super diverse gang, which, it would be kind of woke if we did it today, but it seems to work. Like, everyone in this gang has a distinct personality, except for maybe, I think it's Calvin Jung. One of them, the Asian dude, unfortunately, like, he doesn't have a chance to shine, where I feel like I know the rest of the gang pretty damn well. And then you've got this like weird story of corporate hierarchy where Miguel Ferreira, Bob Morton, is trying to go over Dick Jones's head and try and get his thing and cut out the Ed 209, which I don't think anyone's talked about Ed 209. Like, come on, Ed is so cute. Like, I love its little like feet things and the noises it makes as it tries to step. It's the perfect little miniature. But I love how every part of these weird storylines, they all do intertwine and perfectly come together in the end to just make this very cohesive story. And you understand everyone's kind of part in it when you understand, like, Dick Jones is actually leading this gang and he's leading Clarence, and they're doing it for this new vision of the city that will be led by OCP. It makes so much sense, and it's just such a tight script. I love it. It feels like they've trimmed all the fat out of anywhere that can be, and then just, man, so many amazing performances, so many scenes that just stand out. I can picture almost every scene from this. There's something iconic in all of them. We didn't talk about the makeup work at all. I guess it took like 10 hours to get Peter Weller into that suit initially. By the
Oh
end of
yeah,
the shoot, I guess they
he
got
said it
down.
was the most miserable filming experience of his life because of the suit.
Uh-huh. And he could have been in like Dick Tracy or something else, but instead he chose RoboCop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess by the end of the shoot, they did get it down to like an hour and a half. But man, there's some amazing makeup work in this. Not only does the suit look amazing, but you know, when he takes off the helmet, that whole like stretched skin effect, it's just, oh, it is so creepy and perfect for me. Even looking at it now, I can't tell exactly where the effect ends. It looks so good. I just love the practical. And then I don't think we talked about the models, but sadly, Jurassic Park kind of killed using model miniatures, but this is the same dude who helped out on Jurassic Park that kind of killed everything. It's so amazing. I love the Ed 209 and then just every bit of the model work with this. It's so amazing. It doesn't take me out. Like, yes, I understand this isn't real. I'm not actually seeing it, but man, it looks so much better than early CG graphics. I wish we would have stuck with that and just kind of, you know, augmented it a little bit.
Yeah.
But just everything
I've
about
always
this
been of
works
the
in every
opinion
level for me.
that CG is sort of like a tool to just enhance the physical. It shouldn't like that's a lot of reasons to hate them, but one of the reasons I absolutely hated the Star Wars prequels is because it just looks so flat and fake.
Yeah, the ships, it's nothing compared to those actual miniatures. Like
Yeah.
the ships are iconic. Like at least keep
Yeah,
those.
but there was just so much, like even just like the backgrounds, like you could just tell these are people in front of a green screen, you know. True,
Which
it's
I
improved.
didn't get for this.
It's improved greatly since then, but I mean, I'm of the opinion you should use practical models, practical sets whenever possible, and just use CG as tool to enhance that.
I
I'm
agree
gonna
with
go
you.
even more old school than that. Use miniatures. They look amazing. Like I love
that
these little
too.
models.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, other than that, just amazing performances. You know, we already praised Peter Weller. I guess they didn't even have this suit till like just before shooting, so they gave him like an old football outfit, and he had to like work with a choreographer on how to make his movements very robotic. And then when he got the suit, it's even more limiting. So he had to then get them back into like, okay, how do I make this look like I'm actually moving and I'm not about to fall over every 2 seconds? And yeah, I think it's just amazing. To me, this is iconic, and it's kind of the pinnacle of sci-fi drama from the 80s for me, with a heavy action violence base. Man, I love every aspect of this. I think you're wrong about the plot armor. I think you know, Alex Murphy doesn't have too much armor. He gets taken out pretty hardcore. So yeah, I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna go with that conceit to go ahead and get the RoboCop, man. But my love for this franchise wanes a little bit after this flick.
I'm not surprised. I will say as well, like considering it's 1987, I think they did amazing job. I feel like they were very creative on how they choreographed everything. It was very believable, and it's kind of surprising because that movie is older than me and probably a bit younger than Gray, I think, or around the age of Gray for sure. Um, yeah, that's very odd. Anyway, next, the Matt Belay. What did you
Yes.
think of that movie?
So first of all, I see the original trilogy of RoboCop recently in the past few months when the new RoboCop video game was released, and this time I think myself I did not see any of this movie. I need to see this movie to understand this new video game look kind of cool. So I see the movie and play the video game, and man, that's what a great experience for me to discover this universe. So, particularly the first movie is classical for this time. Today is good. Is good. Peter Weller is great in RoboCop, and what's his work with this the first movie is the narration with the violence, the gore, the criticism of a society and the corporate, like you said before, is Wolverine is a genius with this movie. He gives not limit what he can do with this movie. Is great because Hollywood have the bad habit to restrain this director and when he produces a big movie. But with Paul Verhoeven, he's go all the way and he give all he can do. And with the sequence with the news, the publicity, the gore, the violence, all of this is unique for this movie and for this time. It's a true R movie. Today R is abused when the movie is classed R. I think rated, yeah. But in this time is a true rated movie. Is great for that and a great experience. I can say that for the other movie. The second is okay, is funny, but the third man is not great.
I cannot wait for the third one. I need to see this shit.
Yeah, but yeah, the one is a classic, and I like all aspect of this movie. I think he had not flaw with his maybe it's not good, not a movie for everyone because of the gore, the violence, the subject of the movie is not a simple entertainment with the action. Is more than that. So yeah, for that maybe not people, not family can appreciate this movie enough.
It's not family friendly. This is what you mean, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's not family friendly, like the third again. But yeah, this movie is very great. I repeat that, but for me, I was thinking that they would not good today because it's back in time. It's 1987, so. In this time, the CG, the particle effect is not great for all movie, but for the RoboCop, all work. So yeah, it's like a miracle for this time. I want to say, but yeah, RoboCop one is a good experience for the cinema. All the cinephile need to see the first one. Is a unique experience to discover this movie. So yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Do you want to add more before we pass on the mic to Superbald?
No, I think I cover all of what I want to talk, but I will add with the time. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing, Superbald. You're back with us. What did you think of RoboCop?
Hold on, I got somebody knocking on my door.
Okay, so I will take over for a second till he's back.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Or Grey. So, Grey,
sure. The only thing that I didn't kind of mention, well, I'm sure there's so much that I didn't mention, but man, so many iconic lines, and just I can hear the exact way that every line just comes out now. You get like Clarence being evil, like can you fly, Bobby? Like, I don't know. It's just what kind of villain just throws a guy out of a moving armored car, if you will. But man, so I just love all the dialogue in this, where I don't find it as iconic in the future ones. And then just the subtext that he was going on all of this, just a lot of these themes that we end up seeing, just the whole, consumerist culture and, the entertainment that's going on television, how people are entertained by essentially like a one joke show that's just, I'd buy that for $1, which it kind of comes up in the future screenplay. But I don't know. I think it's a commentary on, the average person and what they're consuming at the same time of, how greedy corporations are. And it's kind of continued into the second one, but I think they changed the tone. It's not as comedic, and it kind of goes down a different route for me, where it's kind of more meta, where they're talking about themselves. Where in this, I feel like it was more of an examination of culture. We've also got those fun commercials. I totally forgot to mention anything about those, but man, the game of what is it? Nukem? I can't remember what the thing is called, but Yeah, like that's just it sounds like such a fun game. Like that
And
is
it was
quintessentially 80s.
it was the
Look,
same
your
actor in
friend.
all of them, I think, right? Or most of them. It was
I
the same actor.
think
It was
so.
what's his I know he was in a lot of movies in the 80s and he always played like a sleazy kind of guy. I think his name was John Glover. I'm not 100% sure.
I know he's in the second one as the car defense
Yeah, okay,
guy.
that's the guy. Yeah, I was thinking of, but I wasn't sure if he was in the other ones.
Oh, I can't quite remember, but man, and then the whole newscast thing also just I love the commentary that they're kind of giving and just how we understand that I can't remember what it's called, but like the piece whatever accidentally shot a laser and it killed 100 a couple ex-presidents, but it's just a malfunction and moving on. Like that sounds so horrific. And then they also mention I can't remember exactly what the environmental disaster is, but again, moving on. And it's just it's so awesome. I didn't understand all these kind of little messages that he had kind of laid in there. I just saw it as the surface level, just action, like yes, robot cop, really violent, this is awesome. But man, I've come to appreciate so much more of it. And kind of seeing this compared to like 2 and 3, I just think Verhoeven does something amazing with his films, and he really kind of adds extra elements in where I don't know that everybody else does. I definitely did not see that in the future ones, but yeah, I want to go and see all of Verhoeven's next ones. There's quite a few that I slept on, so I'm hoping there's somewhere near as decent.
When
Yeah.
you talk, when you talk about the iconic quote, I remember when the first time he go to the street and find criminal and shoot one criminal in this winger and say, "You move, creep."
Yes.
That
Classic moment.
yeah, that's what's so epic and badass. I like this scene, and we not talk about the one element is important on all two movie, the Directive 4, when each time he's blocking him to do this job, because the Directive 4 is a secret directive. He can attack this employer. So it's a great twist for the first movie. You repeat that in the older movie, but when it come with the first time, I say, yeah, that's a brilliant idea to block him, and you need to find a way to
Get around it.
bypass that. So yeah, I like this idea. So yeah,
Well, and it also gives Dan O'Herlihy, just the old man who's in charge of OCP, it gives him kind of a redemption thing because he's able to, fire Dick and allow the end to happen, where in the second one, they just kind of change that completely. Like, his hands are not clean, where it's not completely clear in the first one whether he knows everything that's going on.
yeah, the old man, the prisoner of CD. I think he's a great character. He's not evil, not good. He's just a man want to do money and explore and take the control of the Detroit City to make so much money. But other than that, I don't think he's a violent, evil character. He's not. He's just a great character for that. But the other villain in this movie, like Lawrence, is magnifique. Is
Wonderful.
wonderful. Thank you. A wonderful villain. He's so he's so funny to follow him, to kill people, to do a carol. And yeah, and then when he fight the RoboCop in the end with the big gun, that is good thing too. So yeah,
Okay. Do you want to add more before we pass on the mic to Superbald?
no, I think I had some other things for other life.
Perfect. Superbald, that's your turn.
All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot to add to what I said earlier. And as I mentioned, I had to rush through them because of time constraints, so didn't have time to take notes. But on top of what I said earlier about the satire and all that, I think there was. I'm not quite sure what they were trying to go for, but there was definitely like sort of like a religious parallel, like at the end when, RoboCop walks on water. And also in a way, I mean, he's like Jesus. He was killed and came back to life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional or it was just a coincidence that there was. Um, yeah, that's about the only thing I have to add, at least for the first one. Uh, there's not much to add to what I said earlier. I do have some stuff to say about the second one, but I'll wait till we get there.
Okay, well, I think it's the perfect moment to say to Miss Sparkle, she got the link, so if she wants to just hop in, she can. Outside of that, I will ask Superbald first because you're there right now on the screen. What would be your grade out of 10 for the first RoboCop?
I would give it honestly a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. I'm with you on that. What about you, Matt?
I give him a 9 of 10. Is a perfect movie of this time. Is a great sci-fi movie. A great unique experience on cinema. So I give him a 9 of 10 for that.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. What about you, Gray? I will try to screen Gray. There we go.
Well, thank you. I must be embiggened to tell that I also agree with Superbald and yourself. I would go 9.5 on this. It is just damn near perfect. I think Verhoeven did a little bit better in his next one, but it's so iconic. It is my go-to if I need a cyborg cop movie. Hands down, RoboCop.
And for once, I am not crazy. 9.8 out of 10.
9.8. Damn. Okay.
That's a near 10. And again, I think my only issue is really like, oh, the guy got shot. I don't know how many times, and yet like he's still breathing. Okay, so we will have a Miss Sparkle.
Technically, he stopped breathing.
Great. Multi is always crazy. Maybe. I guess now we move on to RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first on that masterpiece?
Masterpiece.
As Gray said before we went live, it's a piece.
It's a piece.
It's a piece.
It's a piece of something anyway.
As a sequel, it's not a bad sequel. It's a funny movie, but it's not as great as the first. It's obvious, Paul Verhoeven not come back to do this sequel, and Arvind Kishner is a great director, but he go too far with this sequel, and we lose the substance of the first movie and this movie.
Mhm.
So it's sad for that. But other than that, it's an okay movie. Peter Weller is great as RoboCop again. And the violent is okay. It's violent for the this time for the 19, and but for the narration, the story is not a great story, and the second use too much of humor. It's not working great for the universe of RoboCop and for the character. RoboCop is not a funny character himself, but in this the sequel, he says some. Quote for us to laugh, but it's not funny. Other than that, yeah, it's okay movie. It's not bad as the third, but it's not great as the first. It's a okay sequel. I think, yeah.
The more I hear about the third one, the more I'm excited about once we get to cover the third one. I need to see the third one. It's like a must now. Great. What did you think of the fabulous sequel?
Yeah. So, I guess we should start with the whole thing. So Orion did the thing that a lot of the studios are doing. Hey, we had a big hit with this. Hey, Sparkles. So we had a big hit with this original one. So, okay, let's announce a date for the sequel. Like, even though we don't have a script, even though we don't have a director, even though we don't have anything locked in, let's announce a date. And that's what they did with this one, sadly. They had kind of a script where the two guys who did write the first one, they did write a sequel, and it was kind of a big sequel where it's in the future, somehow RoboCop gets like really smashed to hell, but like 50 years in the future, he's able to be put back together, and then he's in this weird futuristic city. Eventually, that kind of became like the TV show, I believe. But that script, somehow they ran into issues with it because of the writer's strike in, I think it was like the late 80s or whatever. So they had to get them to sign an out on that. So instead, they decided to go to comic book writer genius Frank Miller, and he gave them 4 different versions of the script. The first one they gave him, he turned in. They said, this is unfilmable. There's no way that we can do this. And that later kind of became his, I think it was like early 2000s comic books of RoboCop. So that eventually got made, just not on film. And then he did a couple different other versions of it, and they kind of were accepted, but they kept getting a lot of notes and they wanted him to change it. And then finally, now I'm forgetting who the next writer is who gets the co-credit with Frank Miller on this, but he kind of came in and punched it up. And it was originally going to be this other director, and then at the last minute, he had to drop out. So then they actually got this really cool director who is Irvin Kershner. And you would know him from a bunch of different films, but his biggest one is The Empire Strikes Back. Like he killed it in that one. So yes, he did arguably the greatest sequel ever. You could bring in last minute to do RoboCop 2, but Irvin Kershner.
And RoboCop 2 is the last movie he ever directed.
It made with the business. So Peter Weller said that he was really easy to work with, but the female lead, now I'm blanking on her name, Nancy Allen, said that he was just the worst and he just would not stop yelling. So unclear if he was trouble on the set, but it definitely was the last experience that he had. It made him quit. So it's just kind of interesting, but it does. And then Irvin also wanted to take one last pass at kind of the script, and he added a few things and changed some stuff, including kind of the tone of it. And what we end up with is just like a mishmash of like a whole bunch of storylines reminiscent to the first one, but they don't come together. It just is so unsatisfying. But to start off, we're doing almost the same exact movie, but we're just changing it slightly in a bunch of different ways. And then we're adding these elements, like the element with his wife, where supposedly RoboCop is now stalking his wife or his former wife. Just like stops. Like they kind of bring it up because they're talking about his programming, and then just that thread is just gone. We're never going to revisit that again. It's super strange. There's just so much that it could have been, and I think it's from all these different drafts, because there's at least 6 different drafts of this movie. I have to think it's coming from that, but I could be wrong. Perhaps I'm giving him too much credit. So Frank Miller had kind of a quote about it. So this is the last movie that he wrote. He was going to write 3, and then when he saw what happened to 2, he stopped doing anything with Hollywood until Sin City finally got made. But his quote is, "I equate writing a screenplay to creating a fire hydrant with a block's worth of dogs lined up to pee on it." That's essentially what he's saying, like his experience is. He doesn't consider this his script that got made. So it's weird. There's a lot of elements of it that are kind of cool, and then there's so many elements of it that just don't work. The tone just gets shifted. Irvin Kershner is going for comedy, like that opening scene. It is comedic, but it's just such a weird tone, and it doesn't seem to match the previous movie. But it's a fun scene where, like, the lady with the cart, she almost gets run over, and then you see some guy going over to help her, but really he mugs her, and then he goes off to the side, and then these 2 ladies mug him, and then it keeps going on until you get to this drug house where RoboCop comes up and gets blown up. It's an interesting kind of fun take on it, but man, it doesn't feel like the same tone of the first one. And that's what really kind of sucks about it. It just feels like it's taking everything in kind of the wrong way. And then it has some subtext against like big corporations, but it just feels like everything is so on the nose, even with, now I'm blanking on his name, Dan O'Herlihy as the old man. In the first one, it's sort of ambiguous whether he knows what's going on, whether he's complicit in this. And in this one, he's just evil. Like everything is evil. It's not just people like trying to backstab to climb their way up. It's just no, corporation evil. Everything is evil.
Yeah,
got a bunch
they
of
dialed everything up to 11, and like like you said, they just became like cartoonishly evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's weird. I mean, like it does turn into a kids show after this. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. There's some aspects of it that are kind of neat, but like Kane, the villain, he does not live up at all to the previous villain that we got. Like Clarence is just so. How do you beat that? How do you compete with that? Like instead, he went for this weird hippie guy who's kind of a cult leader, but he's not that menacing, especially compared to the villain we got. And then you've got this random kid who I don't know. I guess back in the day, Ebert had a real issue with them putting this kid in there, that he thought that this was marketed to a younger audience and this was kind of a message for kids to emulate this behavior. I'm not sure if I go that far, but I don't know why the Hob character kind of exists. Like, I know if I were in this gang, I wouldn't be taking like some 12-year-old's orders. I don't know if they're so cutthroat and they're gonna like shoot each other. Come on, are you gonna listen to some kid, or are you gonna just take the kid out? So I don't know. Parts of it are really weird and over the top, but it's got some interesting lines and it's got some fun elements. Like, I don't hate that they're trying to do. So it seems like he's trying to do the subtext and everything. Like they have focus groups for what should, RoboCop say. And then that's where they get these lists of directives for him. But I don't know if you guys like slowed down and like looked at all the directives and stuff, but there's some kind of fun ones in there. I'm guessing the writers kind of had their fun writing these interesting kind of comedic directives that he had, but I think they end up with like 500, and a lot of them are conflicting, so that leads to him being nonsensical to the point where he's like reading Miranda rights to a dead guy, and then that whole thing that's over the top is like, okay, so this whole little league team, including the coach, is like robbing this store, and the coach is like encouraging them on and telling them they're not hitting hard enough with the bats and stuff. I don't know. I get it.
But what about the scene that with the toxic? He shoots the car and the guy goes into the toxic waste and comes crawling out.
That's my favorite scene from that first one. Like, it is indelibly burned into my memory. I saw it way too young, and it's just I love that. The second one doesn't have anything like that.
I don't remember the second one.
It's the closest for me is the RoboCop 2 tests, where it just shows these really cool miniatures that are obviously very tormented, and then they take themselves out from the suffering somehow. And then it's got the nonsensical plot.
Robot thing. I think that's a great scene. You guys just skip the first one. I mean, the first one where he's like, "You're a fire," where he shoots the, what do you call it? The mech. He tells it it's fire.
The Ed 209.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, of course you know what it is. But yeah, my dad forced me to watch all three of them.
Wow, that's a great dad.
He forced me to watch other movies too, so he loved movies.
So we will let Dre finish on that, but then we will take your take on the first one after Dre's
sorry
done.
for interrupting you.
Cool. Oh, all good. I think I've only got like two more things. So I think like some of the messaging is there, and it feels like he does try to do the subtext of, the RoboCop 2 is never as good as RoboCop 1, and that message really gets hammered home to the audience time and time again. I don't know if that's the best like message to put in your movie titled RoboCop 2, but fair enough. It's definitely there with the failing of it. But it kind of makes no sense that, okay, so RoboCop 1 is working. It's because he was this cop, but these cops that have died, they don't want to keep living. Something about him is different. So we need somebody on death row. That is the only way that we'll find somebody that wants to live. I don't understand that logic. Like, that is like cartoon villain logic. It doesn't make sense to me. It seems like you would possibly go like military or somebody who's, you know, used to following orders, but hey, maybe this person didn't have like the best psyche. There's so many different ways that I think you could go with that and make it so much more plausible than we need to go with somebody on death row because they really want to live. Just there's so many little things that change.
They got the bad guys.
Yeah. It is.
I don't know. And then the greed is just over the top. And yeah, I don't like a lot of these characters as much as I like them in the original. They don't stand out as much. Even Hobb being the kid who's, you know, how many gangs do you see that are led by a kid? Tom Noonan, who's Kane, he doesn't stand out nearly as much as like anyone from the first. Just, man, I'm kind of left with a muddled movie that has music that's not nearly as good or iconic as the first one. It just feels super generic, except for randomly they hire like an entire choir to just go like RoboCop for no reason. Like it is weird. It's a choice. So yeah, it leaves me, I don't know, just seeing that this is a much lesser version than the first one. So I don't know. I guess I wish this wasn't, but you know, this hasn't been messed up as much as a lot of other franchises. And I think the rumor is that Prime, Amazon now has it. So there might be more RoboCops in the future.
Wow. Let's have a TV show now.
Yeah, a new TV show.
Well, there was a TV show for a bit in the 90s. I never watched it.
Wow. Now
There was also a cartoon.
Canadian production. It was awesome.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, it was a
like-
Canadian production.
Oh my,
Yeah,
even
But
worse.
and there was also a cartoon which I did watch. I don't remember it though. I was very, very young.
Yeah, I know I've seen the cartoon, but I don't remember it. But the TV show, it was weird because like he couldn't just shoot people, so he had these hockey pucks that he'd like throw onto things and then shoot, and that would like blow
Oh my
up the
God.
door.
I
Or,
never
like,
watched it.
disable
I didn't know
vehicle.
that.
I need to see this
Oh
now.
God.
That looks so terrible. I need to see it. Now it's my duty to find it and see it. So, do you want to add more, Grey?
No, I feel like I've talked extensively about it, but yeah, I feel like we could have gotten so much better of a thing. I guess the only other thing that I didn't talk about is that they just completely regress Alex Murphy's arc. You know, like it ends with I am what is your name? Murphy. And then in this one, he's no longer Murphy. Like they get him immediately back to RoboCop, and it feels like we're going to kind of go on that same arc, and then they just kind of drop it, and it's strange. But apparently, the entire arc that we got from the first one, it could have been had if he just electrocuted himself or something. Like it's implying that, you know, that's the way to erase his directives. I don't know. It's just very unsatisfying. I think that's all I got to say about it.
Okay, now we will hear about the woman, about the first
The woman,
RoboCop.
the queen of hitting the wall.
Yeah.
I'm looking at clips right now from RoboCop 2, and his outfit looks. I don't remember at all RoboCop 2. His suit or whatever you call it, it looks awful. It's like all blue now. But
Yeah.
my dad
Well,
personally
he enjoyed
watched
it
He
more.
loved it.
It's
Oh,
it's carbon fiber this time, much lighter.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good for him. It looks bad. So, and the kid, you're right about the kid. The kid. I was watching the dying sucks scene right, just now, and that looks so bad. It's probably why I don't remember. I probably fell asleep. I just remember the first one mainly, and I remember not liking it. So, and I
Oh, you
remember
didn't
that
like the first one.
No, I
That's
didn't like it. I
amazing.
didn't like any of them. No, and I know my kids' dad loved it. I know that I didn't understand. Isn't there like a scene where the wife or somebody like loves on him? And I thought he was so ugly. Why would you want to touch him like that? Isn't there like a scene like that? I just remember always thinking he was like ugly, and I don't like him, and I don't like the way he talked, and I didn't like the way he moved. But I got forced
I
to watch
think
it.
that was on the second one. I don't remember
it
seeing
second
him.
one?
Seeing his
I don't know which
wife
one it
in
is.
the
Then maybe
first
that's
one.
what I remember. He had me watch them all. In
I
like
might
one
be wrong,
go.
but I don't think he exchanged with his wife in the first one.
Okay, then it's the second one. Yeah. So yeah, I remember not. I think that was weird. So yeah, then that's what I remember from the second one. And I don't remember. There's 3 of them, right? I don't remember any from number 3. And so my
Yeah.
dad was like, "This is a really cool scene. Look at this. Look at the violence." Basically.
Alcatraz
I
as
was
a
like, okay.
child. Look
Well,
at this
I was
violence.
older. well, I was like 17, I think. Right? When did it
Oh,
come
okay,
out?
that's not that bad. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe, or no. And well, it wasn't the only movie. My both parents made me like watch certain movies that they thought were like iconic. They like I was my parents like they conceived me at a drive-in, so they love movies. So, but I just remember I'm maybe it's because I'm a woman. I was a big fan of RoboCop. I don't think my mom is too, but my mom loved the Predator, so I don't know. I could ask her, but I don't think she was a very fan of RoboCop too. And so
That's
my score
interesting.
is I will give it 5. I'll give it 5. How about that? This is how
5.
iconic. Yeah, it's just how
I need
iconic it
some
is.
explanation. How
'Cause it's
you end
iconic.
up with 5?
Oh, and I never seen the brand new one. How have you guys watched the newest one? Was that one any good?
The
newest
remake, I
one?
haven't seen it. Don't
The,
plan
Me
on
the,
neither.
seeing it either.
the remake is
Great.
Yeah, I heard bad things about it.
the
Great,
remake.
did you?
I see the remake. The remake is okay for entertainment, but it's not as great than the first one. The no gore, no violence. It's just an action movie. Try to surf on the nostalgia of the 80s. Is not work great for that.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah,
what
it
bothered me
kind of.
was it Fantastic Four or Doctor Stretch or whatever? Wasn't that who was? Isn't that who's playing as RoboCop, the Fantastic Four guy? Right?
I don't
Joel
know.
Kinnaman, I think. I don't know if that's that dude.
Yeah, it is the dude. He's play in the Suicide Squad movie. Rick Flag. He's not a.
Oh, that's Rick Flag?
Yeah,
Hell yeah. I knew I recognized him from
I
somewhere,
thought it
but I
was the
wouldn't
guy
know.
who was in Fantastic Four as Susan Storm's boyfriend. Isn't he like Doctor Stretch guy? I don't know. That's what I thought it
No,
was. But I don't
Dr.
know.
Reed.
I thought it was him. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same actor, the Rick Flag. Yeah, he's not a great actor, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do you want to
Yeah.
add more, Miss Sparkle?
I know that my kid's dad loved it for the violence, and he had a really old action figure of it, or whatever you call it, little model. And it was really detailed, and that's. Oh, and it reminded me of every time I think of RoboCop, I think of Demolition Man with the Sylvester Stallone. I like
Oh,
Demolition
really?
Man.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Because I like that movie better. I don't know why I put them
Post-apocalyptic
together.
future.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Yeah, because every time I think of that one, I hear that one. I don't know why. But I like Demolition Man, and Sylvester Stallone's amazing. So he's awesome.
I feel Tom
Me too,
Baker.
Tom Baker. Me too.
Yeah, me too. I think everyone does miss it.
the good old day. Yeah.
You're not
Anyway.
the Tom Baker, are you? The Tom Baker from Doctor Who?
They ruined Doctor Who.
If you are the Tom Baker from Doctor Who, I'm very pleased to meet you.
So,
But,
Superbald, you are next on RoboCop 2.
Oh yeah. As we've said a few times, it is a piece of something. They dialed everything up to 11 in this one. They're like, let's take all the things that are over the top about the first one and make them even more over the top, and let's throw out all of the social commentary. And the script was all over the place. I didn't really know about the different scripts. Like Grey was explaining that they were several drafts and there's a lot of different things, and it does make sense knowing that now, and why the script is so disjointed. And like Gray said, they hit the reset button on Alex's Murphy's character at the end of the first movie. He seems to be regaining some of his humanity. At the beginning of the second movie, he's just back to being RoboCop. I didn't like the villain, Kane, I think his name was. He was just a ridiculous character to me. I didn't buy that this dude was like some sort of criminal kingpin. He seemed to me to be more like sort of like a hippie guru. He was more like a Charles Manson type of character to me. I didn't like the kid Hobb at all either. I thought that whole character was reprehensible and unnecessary. Yeah, some things about the movie were fun. If you just like dumb action movies, perfect. You can watch this. It's fine. I don't know if I'm giving them too much credit for this, but I think there might have been some poking fun at the fact that they were trying to make RoboCop more family friendly by that scene with all the focus group and adding like the 5 million different new directives to try to make him a nicer person. Maybe
I
I'm giving
think
them
you're right.
maybe I'm just
They wanted to
giving them too much credit for that, but
this is what they were trying to do. They were like, "Oh, RoboCop is dangerous. Let's make him more cool and friendly,
yeah.
so people."
But I don't know if
just
it was
less fortunate.
I don't know if it was like the script writer poking fun at the real life effort to try to make RoboCop more family friendly and accessible so they could sell toys.
Well, that was a trend back then, was turning everything into being like we could sell it to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they have alien toys
Definitely.
right
But
right
but my point is I don't know if in the movie they were trying to poke fun at that. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. They weren't. I don't know.
I think they were, but maybe I give them too much credit myself
Yeah.
as well.
And up until like I rewatched it for this podcast, even though I had to sort of watch on and fast forward for a bit, I actually didn't even realize it was Irving Kershner that had directed this, and I was kind of dismayed that this was his last movie because I thought he should have gone out on a higher note, on a better movie, because this is obviously the dude who did The Empire Strikes Back, one of the greatest movies ever. That being said, though, it is way better than the third one.
I cannot wait to see the third one.
The less said about the third one, the better.
Oh yeah.
That's exciting. The third one, the masterpiece.
That's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, I rushed through it. I didn't have to take notes, so I can't be quite as in depth as I normally am. But that's pretty much all I have to say.
That's fine. Thank you
I
for
just saw
sharing.
that the villain was from that 70s show characters, the dad from that 70s show character.
That was in the first movie. Yeah, it was the
the first one I was just watching.
yeah, it was Kurtwood Smith, and he was a great villain in the first movie. The villain in the second movie, though, is the same dude who was in Manhunter, I think. I can't remember his name, but I didn't like
Tom
his character.
Noonan.
I'm sorry.
The actor, his name is Tom Noonan.
Tom Noonan. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
little kid. I saw the little kid die. I just was watching clips and I saw the little kid die. That was a little
Wow.
much.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm like, okay, this he's been a horrible bastard throughout the whole movie, and now we're supposed to feel sorry that he's dying.
But that's still kind of shocking that they will delete a kid like that. But yeah, I get your feeling.
They kind of did that a lot in certain movies back then. I mean, they didn't care. Like, I realized that I was watching older movies where I was forcing my kids to do what my parents did to me, and I've been watching older movies with them, forcing them. I'm watching Relic with my second right now. Have you guys seen Relic? It's good. I like Relic.
I did, but it's been a long time.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Relic?
Also, it's been a minute since I've seen it.
Yeah, well, it's so far since he said he had to go do something and only watched the beginning. He's 15. Only watched the beginning with me. It's been okay, but where was I going with it? Oh, I noticed that a lot of kids get hurt in movies back then. Like at the beginning of the Relic, these two kids are like stuck in the museum with the monster and everything. And then I was watching a review on other older movies with my youngest. Like, have you guys seen the Thousand Disguise guy? The Michael Myers. The guy who used to work with Michael Myers, the blonde guy who did that movie.
Dana Carvey, the Master of Disguise.
Yeah, Master of Disguise. That movie is horrible. I was watching.
Oh yes, yes, I agree.
Kids were getting
one of the
hurt,
worst movies I've ever seen.
They were kind of messed up to kids back then. I know. I've been noticing lately. I never noticed it till
yeah, in older movies, forgive the pun, but they didn't handle kids with kid gloves. Really, they.
No.
Yeah.
Like in that movie, he makes the kid like get hurt like 6 times during the review. I was watching it. So yeah. So, but nowadays, I think we're too sensitive nowadays. I think people are too soft.
Okay.
I think everybody's too accepting. Everybody.
Perfect. So, Matt is next on the line to talk about that wonderful second movie.
I say many things about this movie and the start, but yeah, as a sequel, like I say, is a okay movie. It's not a bad movie for that. But when you see the first and you see the second, the first is so much higher in the quality than the second. Yeah, it's just okay movie. And I think the young boy Hub need to not need in the, is not need in the movie. We can. Take out the movies what better for the movie. And yeah, the villain, the Kane, is a typical movie of this time, but he not have the charisma the other villain the first movie. And this transformation in RoboCop 2.0, yeah, I not like the looking of this new Robo. Is too not
The
very
appearance.
the appearance, yeah, this new Robo, the Robo 2.0 is not like good as the RoboCop 1.0, but yeah, and for like I say, it's a correct movie. It can be worse, but the worst in the third is the third. So yeah, and for the last movie for Evan Kishner, yeah, is a not great ending, but is okay ending for him. So yeah, RoboCop 2 you can is okay to see. I don't say that for the third. The third you can miss this movie. So yeah, that's for RoboCop 2. Lah.
Okay. Do you want to add more, or I'm next?
No, I think I say all I want to say about this movie.
Yeah, French accent, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Well,
But they like it.
three of the four of us are French Canadians. So,
Yeah, now
Uh,
it's a French takeover.
yeah.
but I am the only one that had the big accents because
Yeah, I made the mistake of learning English at a very young age, so I don't have the typical French Canadian accent.
It's not a mistake. What you're talking about? I'm jealous. I envy you, man. I swear. I want
Same.
to be a chameleon, like, but I'm not. But yeah, Matt shared his thoughts. I will share mine because I'm the last one to go on that topic. Um, so I will pull up my notes. I just realized it's hilarious because the first movie I had a page and a half of notes, and most of it was stuff I enjoyed and liked. But here, it's one page, and half of it is me complaining about stuff. It's like night and day. I exaggerate a bit, I admit.
You like
I
to comply.
exaggerate a bit. But I can see the dip in quality. Even as someone that has no nostalgia whatsoever, I can see the dip. So my first issue would be humor didn't land with the Murphy being different after being changed by the people that treated him. So that was like the entire sequence where he does weird stuff because they played with his brain. I was like, man, is that the moment they tried to make that movie kids friendly, like family friendly? I think this was, and it was hard to watch.
Hard to watch.
You think this was family friendly with like all the cyborg suicide, if you will? I don't know,
more,
man.
more when he was being a good robo, when he was cool with the kids and the people in the street, and even like his partner is like, "You're acting odd, you're weird," and then he pull up with like weird lines. That was like around the middle of the movie.
There was nothing weird about it when he shot around a dude's head and said, "Thank you for not smoking," you know, just to get him to drop a cigarette. That was awesome. That seemed normal. Reading Miranda rights to an already dead guy, that's cool. Yeah, I think that was supposed to be humor. I'm not sure if that was supposed to get like a kid's audience, but yeah, it's a weird tone that they were going for sure.
The humor was too much for this movie. I not like all the humor. RoboCop is not funny himself, but in this movie, he says so many catchphrases, so many quote to attempt to be funny, but it's not funny in the end. So yeah, it's sad for that.
RoboCop can be funny. Like in the first movie, he had a couple of good one-liners, and in this movie, they just, like everything else in this movie, they just went too far. They just went over the top, and
We
it
will
just,
go on
you know,
a very tiny tangent because you brought this up. Who has seen Megalopolis?
I've not seen it yet.
You don't miss
Either.
much.
No, due to financial reasons, I there's a lot of movies I would like to go see right now, but I cannot.
Grey, did you? The Grey. The Grey! So, as someone that has seen
Sorry,
it,
man. Dogs were barking. Yes, I did. It is crazy in a weird way. I can see kind of weird comparisons to it. It is also a city kind of being built by a corporation. There's some weird elements that do kind of match between the two, but yeah, can't say I'm a huge fan other than you got to see it. It's a spectacle, but you can probably wait
Interesting.
for streaming for that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But yeah, D-Lord made me watch it. So that was enough for the tangent. By the way, since you have seen it, we will do a stream eventually about that with D-Lord. I don't know when. Depends on when you're available, but that's a future project at some point. Anyway, my second issue with RoboCop #2. Usually, I don't complain about CGI. I don't. Like, anything that's bad will be decent for me. And you need to be really atrocious for me to point that one out. But here, that was, oh my, that was something else. That was another level bad. I, I don't
Oh,
know.
you're so wrong. The effects here were awesome. Like, I will stand by the effects here, especially the miniatures. Every one of those other machines, they're awesome in how ugly they are, but they're supposed to be that way.
Are you sure? I think he gives them too
Yeah,
much
man.
credit.
They're the iconic scenes from this. Like, go ahead and Google it. You'll see that they've got millions of views. They're awesome and iconic. Like, it really stands out. It's some really good miniature work.
The CGI fight was like,
There's no CGI. I don't know what.
Yeah,
fight
it's
are you talking
all
about, at the end?
it's all stop motion. There was
Yeah.
no.
wait. How
This
did
is
they-
before computer generated effects. Like, that didn't come in until like 93. So like 3 years after this.
Yeah, it's
really
all
was.
it's what
that
they
looked terrible.
yeah, it's what they called stop
It
motion.
didn't.
It's
It looked awesome,
literally
man. It
they
is.
would stop motion, kind of like what they do with like when they make movies out of Play-Doh. They'll
Mhm.
they'll move
Miniatures.
they'll move the miniature just a little bit. They'll film one frame. They'll move a little bit more. Film another frame.
It's awesome, and
And
man,
it's
I disagree with you.
it's incredibly time consuming and painstaking.
Compare it to
How
anything
did they
else
l-
from this
how-
time or in the near like next decade, like up till about 2000. I would put the miniatures up against any CG in that thing. It looks so much smoother, and it doesn't detract as much. Like Superbald was talking about, like the CG of that time is just so flat, like it doesn't look correct. But there are ways that you could augment the miniature with some CG, but that was a little ahead of its time here. But I disagree with you, sir. Miniatures are awesome, and this is a great demonstration of it, especially RoboCop 2, the character, not the movie, but the character and his fight.
My third issue would be characters were forgettable. Only the kid was a more unique villain because I don't think I remember in recent memories seeing a kid being a villain like that.
You wouldn't. You're unaware of Lawnmower Man, aren't you, Multi?
Oh
I'm
yes.
The whole Kane screen projection is so Lawnmower Man. Like, it is the shitty computer graphics of the time. Like,
I
that's as
completely
advanced
forgot
as we
about
can get.
about Lawnmower Man. I haven't seen that in probably 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a couple decades for me as well. But yeah, Multi, maybe you should get used to some movies like that. Like, you'll have to look at Lawnmower Man and see what
Oh
some of the
my.
effects of the time were like.
I can only assume you will probably list it for next season. For instance.
Nah, I don't think Lawnmower Man makes any of my lists, but in my head, it cannot ever escape, sadly. It's no Scanners. Maybe I'll make you watch Scanners.
Scanners, interesting. That was a massive hit. Okay, well, I was overly negative, but I really felt like that was a huge downgrade from the first one to the second one. I have a few things I'd like to share. The female villain was proving wrong when saying RoboCop was outdated. RoboCop defeated RoboCop 2, and it was proof that the female villain was wrong. I can't remember her name because she's forgettable, but you get what I'm saying,
How
right?
can you forget Juliet Fax, played by Belinda Bauer? Come on, sir.
I don't even know the actress and what other movie she was in.
I know that off the top of my head. I'm not stalling for time, but when I think about her career, I obviously think about Flashdance, UHF, and Starcrossed, as well as RoboCop 2.
Was she in
Okay.
UHF? I don't remember. I haven't seen UHF in a long time.
Apparently. So, yeah, to tell all honesty, I was on IMDb. Yes, it's saying that she's in UHF.
Caesar.
Yeah.
Well,
UHF.
shout out RoboCop 2 was not functioning well. The question of is RoboCop still human was entertaining. Well, shout out crime as taking over the city, but it's still weird. I just think again about it. RoboCop has been around for quite some time in the timeline. So why would crime still being there? Maybe I nitpick too much. I don't know.
Because they needed to make another movie.
Okay.
Yeah, do you not see it as a commentary of how... Well, that is true. Best legs for sure. But do you not see it as a commentary on how, RoboCop 2 is hastily, very quickly put into production without thought behind it, and perhaps the right funding, and they didn't even have like the right aesthetics for it or anything like that, and it's not as good as RoboCop 1. I'm just talking about the two robots in the movie, but there's probably no analogy that they're making there. There's probably no subtext or anything.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot more to say, because I got a feel like the action was kind of entertaining, but it wasn't as good as the first one. It feels like, oh, let's make a movie because the first one made money, but let's make money again. Yippee! We all make money, right? So yeah, and you said that the music wasn't as good as what we had with the first one. It's basically a downgrade. So I will give this second movie a 8 out of 10 because I still enjoyed it overall. It's not as good, but I enjoyed it.
This is an 8 to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still solid.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry I can't be on the podcast anymore.
Yeah, well, you haven't heard of his Godfather 3 rankings.
My
Really?
favorite
It's his
was the
favorite
third
Coppola
one.
movie.
My favorite
I'm
was the third
afraid to ask.
one. My favorite
Oh
was
my
the
God.
third one.
You prefer the third one? Seriously?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you, man?
So great. What
Okay,
would
now
be your
I
grade out of 10?
definitely can't be on the podcast anymore. I'm sorry.
Me too.
It's
The other one is
understandable.
the classic movie, is a perfect movie.
I can't be associated with people like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It pains me as well to be here, but I'm trying to slowly educate him. I don't hate RoboCop 2. It's definitely not something that I go back to. I think if I was going to give it a score out of 10, it would probably be like a 6 from me. I just think everything is a downgrade from the first one, aside from the miniature work. That was spot on. But yeah, I think Peter Weller did an amazing job learning how to do the movements. I think he had him down even better in the second one, which apparently he was using like carbon fiber, very light armor in this one, which was awesome because apparently it didn't take nearly as long and it wasn't as taxing on him. However, the next actor, apparently it didn't fit him at all because it was kind of just for Peter Weller's. And
Yeah,
was
they didn't
very
make a new
painful
suit
the next
for him.
guy.
They just reused the one from the second movie, and
Yes,
Yeah.
Willis Fritz. Yeah, it's above average for me. It's great. It's good.
No, he's just talking about your scale.
Yeah, I
you know,
know.
the special scale.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it's like a 6. It's if for me, 5 and above would be good. Yeah, I'll put it on like a 6. What about you, Superbald? Where would you go with this one?
5.5. That's like I didn't hate it, but I think if you compare it to the first movie, it's such a drop. And in a lot of ways, it's even like a parody of the first one.
I feel you, man.
Mm,
Feel you.
yeah.
And what about you, Matt?
I give him a 6 of 10. I agreed with Gray. All this, what you say, is not a bad movie. It's an okay movie. It's a okay sequel. We see a bad sequel in this time, but for RoboCop, the sequel is okay. And Peter Weller is worked great as RoboCop again. But yeah, the Valente is not memorable, and the story is just over the top for no reason and too much humor. But yeah, this movie has quality. So yeah, but see, I said that I want to rewatch movie. I don't rewatch RoboCop 2, but I will watch RoboCop 1. And the third, I forgot this movie ever. But yeah, so RoboCop is okay. Yeah.
Guys are just hyping me up for the third one. I cannot wait to see the third one. I am so excited. I feel like we will get our redemption just like the Godfather 3. Oh
Check
yeah.
that great multi. You give an 8 and 10 for RoboCop 3.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Anyway, anything else to add about these two movies before we go to the outro? I guess not, and I'm wrong as usual. Um, um, conclusion on RoboCop, and now outro. So, um, a lot of things happens. I was so disappointed I wasn't able to see A Different Man last week. It only comes out here in Quebec this week, so hopefully Friday I can see that movie. I've been like waiting for it for weeks. Guys got it September 20 and we get it like October 4th. Way too late. I'm jealous. I want to move in, Gray. I want to move in your country, man. I want to see the movies when they come out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the trade-off's worth it. It's your mileage may vary, but I wouldn't suggest Detroit if you've paid attention to these last two movies.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Everywhere except Detroit.
Detroit is a dead city, so.
Anyway, what is going on your end of the internet, Superbald?
Still no change from the previous weeks. Nothing going on. For financial reasons, not a lot going on, period. A lot of new movies I would like to go see, but I can't. The last new movie I saw was a couple of weeks ago. I saw the second Beetlejuice, and it was meh. But I'm hoping to upgrade my setup here. So, as I've mentioned before, I'd like to upgrade my audio and video setup, and then maybe start working on some new projects. But at the moment, the only thing I got going on the internet is this podcast.
Well, thank you
Well, we
a lot
appreciate that.
for being with us.
And
yeah.
your audio doesn't sound bad, sir. It totally works. To put you on the spot, if you were to rank sequels, Beetlejuice, or RoboCop 2, what's the sequel for you?
It's unfair.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. They're both very disappointing in a way.
Come on.
I think I would say probably the RoboCop one is not as disappointing because it came out relatively soon after, I think 2 or 3 years after the first one. I was quite skeptical about a sequel to Beetlejuice, the original Beetlejuice. I hate saying this because it makes me feel old, but it's almost 40 years old now. It came out, 1988?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have seen it when it came out. I saw it at a drive-in. Saying that makes me feel even
Oh.
older.
I love the drive-in. I wish those were still around.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. It's I don't think I could answer that question.
It is one of those tough ones. Sorry
Yeah.
for putting you on the spot, but
That's all right.
thank you.
And Matt, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Pretty much the same in the last week. I see movie and TV show, and I write about them in French, so not for the audience. I see Wolf, who talks
Wolves.
this Wolves, who talk
We
this
gotta
movie.
talk about it, Gray, and you and me. We need to talk about that. I like that movie.
Is
Hopefully, I'm not the only one.
about a nice movie with George Clooney and Brad Pitt team up again. So and I see the prequel of Rosemary Baby, Apartment 7A, 7A. I don't know the original movie. I need to see this movie, but for the prequel, is a good thriller horror movie. Yeah, but other than
You
that,
kind of seen the original.
I need to see the original. Yeah, and
I'm
it's
just
a
saying, if you saw 7A, you kind of saw the original. You'll see.
Okay, I will see. But yeah, it's many TV show and movie, but I don't want to talk an hour about that. So yeah, it's all I want to say.
Oh, I like it when Willis Crudup shows his French. Man, that's amazing. Maybe you use Google Translate, but if you didn't, thanks. Respect for the French, you know.
He's part European. He summers there.
I
or
heard some
winters
small
there.
French here and there, and his accent when the bit I've heard is not that bad. So read aloud. Ok.
Monica Bellucci.
Irréversible et une belle histoire de voyage.
Yeah, I remember seeing Irreversible. It was it's a tough movie to watch. It's a good movie, but it's a bit tough to watch.
Yeah, it's a hard movie, not for everyone.
Yeah.
Hard to recommend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Great. What do you have going on your end of the internet?
Kind of nothing. I should have stuff on my channel. There's a back catalog of stuff that should be done. Supposedly I'm a YouTuber, but yeah, I'm on a bunch of shows each week. If you can't get enough, come over to That Darn Kidda's channel on Thursday for The Thinkers. Every Thursday, there's a group of us from like 3 different continents that get together and disagree about everything. I think we're having a rematch about... So the guy who was too afraid to debate me last week, supposedly he's going to show up this week to say his point on men's mental health and this whole tweet that like set the internet on fire about 3 weeks ago. However, there is another special guest that's joining us who's making his own RPG tabletop game. And I think we're kind of learning about that, and he's going to kind of present that. He is kind of a big fish out there in the gaming world. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So yeah, join us this Thursday on YouTube at That Darn Kidda, for the Thinkers every Thursday morning. That's about all I got going on. What about you, Multi? What do you have going on, sir?
Thursday, I got a video 2 months and a half too late about the Acolytes. It took me like 4 hours to edit because we got D-Lord, and we all know D-Lord does great content, but so many tangents. The editing room took forever, but that was fun, and the video is ready, so Thursday it will premiere. And I plan on releasing other videos. I caught up to Get That All Along, and I regret. Spoiler, it's not that great. You don't miss much if you don't watch Agatha All Along. Outside of that, a bit of gaming. We did record a lot of segment for different videos yesterday.
I gotta interrupt you there. I can't just let that slide. So were you a fan of WandaVision?
I haven't seen WandaVision actually.
So then I
Really?
don't know if you understand the context behind Agatha all along. I think it's just wonderful. It's fabulous, fantabulous, if you will. I can't wait for the next episode. I love what they did with the first episode. If you're not familiar with the now I'm forgetting her name, the one from Titanic, the pay me like Kate Winslet. She's in like Mayor of East. Is it
It's a great
Ville or
TV
East?
show. Mayor
Yeah,
of
I
Easttown.
always Easttown. Thank you. I can never remember that. I always want to call it like Eastwick because of the Witches of Eastwick. Because yeah, it's another one. But man, they hit the tone just perfectly for that detective show. Like it is just spot on. And then when you kind of recontextualize every single scene and that you realize like she was, you know, in her own head at the time, and the way that they blocked it, like it still works out with the geography of everything that's going around. Just, oh man, it works on so many levels. I disagree with you, sir. I think it's a great show. Everyone should check it out and have their own opinion.
Wait. Oh, that's interesting. I need you on that video then. I need you. We will talk backstage after. Outside of that, there's also a Umbrella Academy. I know Matt has seen season 4, right?
Yeah.
And you had a very different opinion than me for season 2 and 3, which is amazing. So because of that, we need to talk about the Umbrella Academy. When you got time, when we both got time in the next few days. So basically, I'm done recording my part. There's only our part where we talk about the show overall. Now that the show is done. So that's what's missing. Outside of that, yeah, so many things.
Yeah.
Anyway, next week we will talk about basketball and Big Trouble in Little China.
Such good films, and Multi is wrong already, but such good film.
So I'm wrong to like one of the two and hate the other one? Okay, cool. So
Yes,
it's a
you're wrong.
win-win. So one of the two is the automatic loss then. Okay, cool. Since I'm wrong, you know. Oh my. Willie, what's going on? Are you okay? Did you hit your head somewhere?
I don't think he's understand.
I hope he
correct.
knows what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Otherwise, he wouldn't make it. And
He is
with that,
a comedian on top of being a box office guy. So, yeah, perhaps
That's
you know,
true.
he is one
I've
who
been
jokes.
since we did that first episode with Falling Down. I checked out his YouTube channel, and great stuff, man. I'm a fan.
and
I think we all
they are
are.
doing the show business show. I think it's on Mondays usually. I might be wrong, Gray. Which day it's show business?
Usually Mondays. Sometimes it's other days, but usually Mondays. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good time.
good show. That's one of the last few long form content I really watch. Because I watch lots of movies, obviously, for the channel and for my own enjoyment as well. But yeah, we will talk a bit backstage. And for now, we are out. Thank you a lot. And I feel like the numbers this week will be another banger. I don't know what's going on. Things are working well. And thank you guys.
I take
we
all the
had-
credit. I take all the credit.
Perfect. Take it. Take it. And we are out.